We know that Australians love to travel. We embrace the world, and probably due to our isolation, our curiosity to get out there and to have a go, or perhaps before white settlement, or perhaps after white settlement, we've been a nation of immigrants with connections and family histories from all points of the globe. And all of you here will remember that first moment when you travelled overseas, when you experienced the globe for the first time. For me, I remember travelling to London in the early 80s and being totally amazed by the city. And I was staying with some backpacking friends in a rundown shared house, and I was sleeping beside a cracked window with that unique, damp London cold air literally going through my bones. And I found a phone and I called my then girlfriend, who is now my wife for 22 years, and I told her she would absolutely hate the London freeze, having been a Sydney beach girl. Only for us later to spend 6 of the best years of our lives, professionally and personally, in that wonderful city. Or moving to Tokyo in the early 90s, still young and naive, and to be truly blown away by the craziness of this city that was Tokyo, the scale of the economy, and the opportunities that Asia represented. And it's not a widely known fact, but there are 1 million Australians living overseas today. That's about 1 in 20 of us. And as Serafina alluded to, Advance has a simple mission. It's to harness the power of those 1 million Australians abroad for the benefit of the individuals, but also for the benefit of our country. We believe fundamentally our expats are not a brain drain, but a national resource, an underutilised national resource, but nonetheless a resource. Advance helps Australians connect with each other abroad. We help Australian startups. We've taken 120 entrepreneurs to Silicon Valley and beyond. We help Australians return home in senior roles, thereby investing their expertise back in our country. And what tonight is about, we help recognise the extraordinary achievements of Australians overseas via this global awards dinner. And in previous years, we have unearthed some remarkable stories. One of last year's winners, Carolyn McGregor, grew up in Boreham Hills. She topped maths at school, only for her father to tell her that their family wasn't all that smart. Undeterred, she went to university and became one of Australia's top experts in data analytics. She was helping banks predict customer behaviour. She was helping supermarkets predict what shoppers would do. And one day, Carolyn walked into an intensive care neonatal ward. And she said, you know what? I can apply my skills to help the doctors help these sick babies by providing real-time, accurate information. Now in Canada, she's built a world-leading health analytics platform and is literally saving thousands of lives. Another is Chris Bothausen, who's here with us tonight. Chris grew up in Tumbarumba, and one night he looked into the clear, cold night sky, and he said as a kid, I want to be an astronaut. And via a PhD in physics at Sydney University, Chris packed his bags and ended up a space mission architect at NASA in California. Not content with that, he gave that away, and he started his own company that has launched 140 satellites into orbit and he's disrupted that global industry. Now an entrepreneur in residence at a major US venture capital group. Or Richard Pestel. Richard grew up in Perth, and at 6 years of age, his best mate at school, his friend, died of leukemia. And trying to comprehend that as a child, Richard decided not to get mad, but to get even. And today, Dr. Richard Pestel is based in Pennsylvania and is one of the most renowned cancer researchers in the world, working on an early stage drug that stops cancer spreading from its primary location. Or Tan Le. Tan Le arrived in Melbourne at 4 years of age with no English as a Vietnamese boat refugee. Determined to make the most of her chance, she excelled at school and by 16 was studying law at university. In her early 20s, she was with one of our most prestigious law firms on a career track for greatness. But she left to become an entrepreneur, dedicated to finding the early markers of epilepsy and depression, and another project to allow people to use their mind to operate things like wheelchairs and prosthetic limbs. And then finally, a name you will know, Baz Luhrmann. Baz grew up in Herons Creek on the mid-north coast, as he describes it, a thriving metropolis of 11 houses. His family run the local cinema and petrol station, and when Baz was 7, a car pulled into the station and it had this weird-looking camera rig down the side. And Baz asked his dad what that was, and his dad explained they were making a movie nearby. And not only was it a movie, it was an Australian movie. And Baz was blown away. He didn't know that we did that. And at 7 years of age, his life track was determined. And there's a common theme amongst all of those examples that I believe represents what Advance is all about. It's about ambition, it's about vision, it's about an audacity, it's about a willingness to leave our country and compete. And as you'll see when we present our winners tonight, it's to do all that in a distinctive Australian way.